Welcome, everyone. TJ Pridell is an account manager for reference solutions on behalf of New England libraries, government agencies, and the SMB community. Our key focus this evening will be how small business owners and executives can leverage reference solutions, business and consumer information for bettering your marketing, sales, and research needs. TJ assists public libraries in contributing to local economic development through SMB and key partner consultations, as well as programming initiatives such as tonight's event. So please welcome TJ.
Thank you, Christina. So, okay, you made my job really easy. I don't even have to introduce myself at this point. That's fantastic. I will make a small tweak. So my focus for tonight's program is going to be on job seeking standpoint. One of the things that the Reference Solutions database does is for business growth. So a lot of small business owners will use our resource, but tonight we're going to be focusing on mostly how a job seeker would use Reference Solutions to find gainful employment. So I'll start by sharing my screen so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Right now we're just on the library homepage. Reference Solutions is a free resource to James Blackstone Memorial Library patrons. If you would like to access the Reference Solutions database, all you need to do is go to the James Blackstone Memorial Library website, so just blackstonelibrary.org. You'll find us under the Research tab. So this is all the e-resources that they subscribe to. You can either click on the tab or you can scroll down to where you see it says Reference Solutions. Once you select our resource, it'll ask you to agree to our terms and conditions, and then it'll ask you to put in your library card number, and then you'll be logged in from there. So it'll take you to the screen you see here. If you're physically in the library, it'll just let you in right away, but you can access our database from home or from work. So before I get too far into the Reference Solutions resource, if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to type your question in the chat box. I'll address it as we go along. So if there's a specific industry that you're interested in working in, or if you have a past background in a certain industry and you want me to, cater an example to your own work experience, I'm more than happy to do that. And then if you are comfortable being recorded on camera, feel free to unmute your microphone and ask any questions that you have. So at the very top of our website, you'll see our webinar schedule and our learning center. So we do bi-weekly webinars similar to this one. So there's a job seeking webinar every other week. So if after this presentation you're interested in doing a follow-up webinar to get some more information, feel free to click on this link, and these webinars are available to you on a bi-weekly basis. We also do a business growth webinar, a search essentials course, which is for beginning users. So if you've never used Reference Solutions before, you don't even know where to start, that might be a good one to take. But when I first started working for Reference Solutions, my manager sat me down in front of a computer. He said, click around, before you know it, you'll be an expert. So there is some truth to that. So it shouldn't be too hard to get used to the resource to use it for the purpose that we're talking about tonight. Our Learning Center does have some additional training materials for you. So slide shares, videos, training guides on how you might use the resource. So these are very, very basic, I guess, how to access the resource. And then I do believe we'll be adding how-to guides. But for now, I'll teach you how to go through the database to find new work. Okay. Background information. Reference Solutions is owned by the parent company, Data Axle. We're based out of Omaha, Nebraska. We started up in 1972 originally as a phone book compiler. So it was just one guy collecting phone books. That was it. He wasn't a crazy person. He had a good use for that. So he would distribute sales leads to companies, and he would provide them with names, addresses, and phone numbers. So white pages, yellow pages, government blue pages. Now we've got the most boring library in the United States. It does have 4,400 phone books. We still do data entry from the phone books. That's how we start our data compilation process. So we've got information on every business and every consumer in the United States and Canada. So we'll do data entry from the phone books, and then we move on to public sourcing through government record. So we'll collect Secretary of State filings, Better Business Bureau listings, utility connects and disconnects, so like heating, electricity, trash, sewage. All of that through contractors are publicly available information. So we'll know what the business industry is, where they're located, what they're making in sales, their total employee size, where their expenses are, et cetera. And then all of those data points become searchable in our database. So if there's somebody in the marketing and sales field and they want to identify a vertical market, they're looking to do outreach and sales to all the beauty salons in Fairfield County making less than $1 million per year with an owner contact title available, they can generate a very custom tailored list for their own personal needs. Now, tonight we're going to be talking about how you might use that on the job seeking standpoint. And there is a bit of a crossover to how a business owner might be using that data as well. I do actually have my own personal story that I'd like to share with you guys as well as we get further into this. But before I started working for Reference Solutions, I was a patron at Omaha Public Library, and I had used the resource for job seeking. Ironically, I did end up working for them. So I'll share kind of how I use the database for my own job seeking needs. All right, so if you scroll down, you'll notice we have 10 different modules available to you. US business, so these are every business in the United States, private or publicly traded. Canadian business, so businesses in Canada. US new businesses, so businesses that are newly established within the past 2 years. There is a filter, so you can look for businesses that have opened their doors within the past week. White pages in US and Canada, so simply if you are in the white pages, your name and phone number, address will be listed in this application. Historical business is a look back on businesses dating back to 1997. It's a more advanced application, so if you're looking into market trends, thinking about owning your own business, starting a company, this is a good way to start doing your research and building a business plan. The US Jobs and Internships module, which we will be talking about first and foremost. US Healthcare, we get all our information through the American Medical Association, so information on doctors, dentists, physicians, and surgeons. US Consumers and Lifestyles will show you buying behaviors, lifestyle interests, and hobbies of individual consumers. Companies will use this as a way of marketing to the household level. And then lastly, US New Movers and Homeowners. So we do collect the change of address form from USPS. So if somebody moves from point A to point B, we'll know where they moved from and where they moved to, from how far away they moved. Usually companies will use this for welcome campaigns. Like, welcome to the community, come on into my barber shop for a 10% discount on your first haircut, or whatever, you know. Okay, so that's a little overview of all the modules that we offer. For tonight's overview, I'm going to be focusing on US businesses and US jobs and internships. Unless anyone else has questions relating to some of these other modules, then I'm more than happy to go into that at the end. But for now, I'm going to start at US jobs and internships. Now, when I click on that, it's going to take us to a very simple screen. You'll see two tabs, Quick Search and Advanced Search. Quick Search, we are looking for a job. Now, in this module, we've got a partnership with Indeed.com. So I encourage you, if you are going to be applying for jobs through the Reference Solutions database, that you have your Indeed portfolio filled out in full. You've got your resume uploaded. You've got all your admin details filled out, because it's going to take you to that third-party website. Now, the only added benefit of looking for the job through Reference Solutions rather than Indeed is there's linkage back to our US business database. If you want to research that individual company that you're applying for a job at, you can use our database as a source of information to look into them. So if you need talking points during your interview, you can leverage our data to better your outlook during your interview. Now, if we scroll down a little bit further, you're going to see additional job resources. So these are third-party links that we provide in one portal, which will make it really easy for you to help your job prospects. Now, none of these are owned by Data Axle. These are all third-party links to third-party companies. But within here, you'll see aptitude testing, salary estimates for certain types of jobs, resume writing courses if you need help building a better resume, how to become a specific profession. So if you're either early in your career or if you're looking to transition careers and you just don't know, well, what are the first steps I need to take to become a computer programmer or whatever. So yeah, take advantage of some of these links that you see here, peruse through them at your own speed. And then if you do have any questions on those, you can always reach out to us directly. At the bottom of our website, you'll see our email. So if you do have questions beyond this webinar, feel free to reach us at this email here. All right, so I'm going to do a very simple search. I'm going to look for account manager jobs in the Hartford area. So this is a quick search. Now, I always recommend people do an advanced search. You can get more specific with your criteria, but just to kind of show you the functionality, account manager, Hartford, Connecticut, view results. You'll get a very simple listing of account manager jobs. Once you click on the job title, that's going to take you to the Indeed portal. So when we click on that, it'll open up the job application process. So apply on the company website or apply internally through Indeed. I'll have a company description and full job description here. And then the company that they're going to be working for. So this is a Cigna. So if you click on Cigna, it's going to take you to our US business database. And then this is the one, and I guess there's a bunch of them, but this will take you to the profile. So it'll show you everything we know about that individual business if you wanted to research that company before going in for that interview. Okay. Now I'm going to do one separate search. Let me see if I can. Okay, so we're going to do an advanced search. And this is what I would recommend doing. So when I search for account manager, it searched for either the word account or the word manager, whether in the job title or the job description. So it's not very specific. It's easier if you're looking for the exact phrase, account manager. Search for a specific company, looking for full-time work, internship work, temporary work. So you choose the job type, salary estimate. Now keep in mind, the more filters you put in there, the smaller and more refined your results are going to be. So you can get very specific, yield a very small results of companies that you know you'll probably want to work for and apply for those first, and then broaden your horizons from there. That's what I like to do. I like to go real specific at first because sometimes you can get 0 results. And then if it's obvious you need to broaden your horizons, then you can do that from there. So let's do account manager. I'll leave these blank. And then location, so within a 5, 10, 15, 25 mile radius from your home. And then the age of the publishing. So that's really important. Oftentimes you'll see a lot of Indeed posts that are like 90 days old, 180 days old. And for me as a job seeker, I always think, are they perpetually hiring for that, position because, it's not a great job, they've got a high turnover rate, or, is it just a big company that always has a need to fill a position? I'm really not sure, but I want to look for jobs that have just been published within the last 7 days. That'll increase my chances of being one of the first people to submit my application for that position. And then I'll, more than likely my application will get viewed. That's my thought process anyway. So I guess look at it any way you want, but that's how I look at it. So age of the publishing, very important. Same thing, job titles. If you need to, if you don't want to spend your time looking for jobs within the database, you can check mark the job records you see here and then email them to yourself. So it's going to send a list of these straight to your email. So if you want to do it on your own separate time, you don't want to be logged into our resource, that's just fine. You can extract the results and send it straight to your email. we won't save your email. You're not going to suddenly start getting marketing messages or anything like that. Okay, so the jobs module is actually very simple. It's not how I use the database to find a job. I've been doing this for a little over 6.5 years now, so it has been a while, but this is not how I used it to find a job. But this is how the vast majority of people will start and looking for work. Now, before I go into the US business database, are there any questions? And if there are, you can either unmute yourself and ask, or feel free to type your question in the chat box, up to you. But I'll give a brief pause to see if anyone has any questions.
I do, TJ. I like the way you presented it. That's pretty much what I've been doing. Is I've been applying for jobs with companies that I'd really like to get into. But now, because my unemployment's going to be running out, I do have to broaden my horizons. And I did just go on Indeed and Monster and all that good stuff. And I have a question for you. I don't know if this is a question you can answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Sometimes there's a job that looks interesting, but a lot of them don't. It'll say salary not available, what have you. So, and I've been through this. I was just through this a couple of weeks ago. It's a job that I'm really interested in, and they didn't have their salary posted. My question is, if you're lucky enough to get the interview, I got different answers from like Fortune 500 companies. There's no straight answer. When should you bring up salary? If they don't bring it, they say wait for them to bring it up in the interview, but the interview's almost over and they don't bring it up. When's a proper time to ask salary? Thank you.
Okay, so that's a fantastic question. I don't know if I'm really qualified to answer that question. You're going to get an opinion from me, so keep that in mind. So keep this. Take this with a grain of salt. And this is actually something that I really struggled with during my job search process. Sometimes a salary is going to be a disqualifier for you. So you don't want to go through 2-3 interviews before you haven't even asked about the salary to find out it's a position that you're overqualified for, and it's really not worth your time to say, oh, I'm so sorry, this doesn't meet my salary requirements. So I think the earlier the better, but don't make it the basis of your, you need to show genuine interest in the company and the position first, and show them that you've got, I'm A, qualified for this job, I'm B, very interested in your mission, and I think I'd be a great contribution to the team. With that said, currently I'm making X, salary in my, current or previous position, and to continue my, cost of living, and, I'd be interested in making this, that's something you can offer. It is a bit of a tightrope walk, so it's something you might have to figure out as you go along. Yeah.
I appreciate the feedback. And the last question is, this is a little sensitive, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I'm in my mid-50s, and age discrimination is out there. It's prevalent. And is there a place where older job seekers, I have a lot of experience, but is there a better place where older job seekers can go, rather than like new career, new people fresh out of college and have you? Or
depends on where you're at with your career. I think now I don't believe the Reference Solutions jobs module has this ability to search, but there's entry-level position, there's associate position, there's mid-level, there's senior level. So depending on how skilled you are in your industry, I would look for those filters in Monster, Indeed, and LinkedIn, and Ladders, and Career Builder, etc. So that might be a good way, because those younger people that are just graduating from college, most of them are going to be doing entry-level work,
right?
Or even maybe associate if they've got a skilled degree.
Okay, because I've been in my field over 30 years, so that makes sense. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. So you'd be looking at that, I guess, whatever that mid-tier or senior level would be. Yeah. Great question. Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to dive into the US business database. Now, this is actually kind of how I used it. I do have a sales background and a marketing background, account management background. So I used it in a little bit of a different way than some people might have. Again, same as the US jobs module, there's a quick search function and an advanced search function. So quick search, if you're researching an individual company, you either A, you know you want to work there, or B, you've got an upcoming interview and you want to research them, then you would just look up the name of the company. So and just as a general example, look up the record for Stanley Black & Decker in Connecticut. So choose your geography, choose the name of the company, and then view results. So it'll pull open all Stanley Black & Decker locations within Connecticut. So it'll show you very basic details, name of the company, CEO or owner, address, phone number, contact info. On the right-hand side, you'll see a corporate tree icon, and then this shows a down arrow. So that means that's the corporate site, and they own entities underneath them. If you see an up arrow that's stating vice versa, that's a branch and they're owned by somebody else. So if you're looking for the corporate location of any company, a very easy way to do that, just type in the name of the company, click on the corporate tree icon for any of the records, doesn't matter. And then whoever's listed at the very top of the hierarchy is going to be the corporate site. So if you are looking to work at the corporate office or look into the corporate office business details, this is where you would do it. So it'll show you Stanley Black & Decker is a hardware manufacturer located out of New Britain, Connecticut. Show you how many people they employ and what they make in sales revenue across the board. Below that, and if you look at the key, these are all of their branches, subsidiaries, and then what the branches are making in sales, how many people they employ, et cetera. So that'll only benefit you so much. If you click on the record itself, it'll show you all the information we know about them. At the very top, very basic details, address, phone number, website, social media feeds. So if you are looking to get in contact with them, that'd be a very simple way to do so. There's a small section of job listings. So if you've got your eyes set on a company rather than a certain job title, I'd recommend you look up the company in the business database first. There's a small job listing section within the detailed record of the business listing. So it'll show you all jobs that are hiring at that on-site location. Once you click on that, it's going to take you to Indeed. Industry profile will show you what industry they associate with. So what their primary function is as a business, their secondary functions. There will be a business profile, so just a small blurb on what they do, what products they sell, how long they've been around, what their purpose is and mission is as a company. Google Maps is integrated with reference solutions. Most people don't know this. We actually provide our address points to Google Maps. We do that for Yahoo, AOL, MSN, and Bing. So our data is integrated with all the online search engines and 90% of the in-car navigation systems that you use today. So you will see us that company on a map. Details behind the business, how many people they employ, total sales, is it the headquarter, private business, a single location business, etc. So details behind them. More on the job seeking standpoint, we'll show you a management directory. These are the top level executives at the company. One thing I always recommend, and this is another recommendation that I say take with a grain of salt, because it is a bold suggestion, but if you look through the management directory, oftentimes you'll find an HR executive. So I'll scroll down, we'll see, okay, so Joseph Volker is an HR executive. When you see the word executive, that means they're a senior level member on the HR team. They're more than likely in charge of hiring one way or another. Pick up the phone, call the company, ask for that specific individual. Once you get them on the phone, say, hey, I've got a background in, such and such. I was interested in applying for jobs, or I had already submitted my resume and cover letter, was interested in securing an interview. What would be the next steps in the process? So that is a bold suggestion, but if you are, if you struck out one too many times, then you know what, why not? So keep that as an option in your back pocket. But this will just show you the top level executives at the company and then their titles. So this is a pretty large list, so I'm just going to scroll through here. Now, you're going in for an interview. I always recommend being up to speed on what the company is currently doing. It's a great way of just, picking up on certain topics of discussion. So we have a host through Bing. So if Stanley Black & Decker's name is mentioned in any of their what they deem reputable news sources, it'll automatically publish here. Third-party link, you can read more about what's going on at the company as of current. Stock data we do have if you need it. New York Stock Exchange info, simple Google Finance link. You can see how they're doing in the stock market if they're publicly traded. Okay, so this next section is how I used reference solutions a little more than 6.5 years ago as a job seeker. With my background in account management and sales, what I wanted to do when I was looking for jobs was to showcase to the interviewers my ability to qualify sales leads for their company. So I said, hey, if you hire me, I'm going to be targeting these businesses on your behalf for this reason. So what I did, I framed a search in the advanced search section of the US Business Database for all companies with high expenditures in the industry in which I was interviewing at. And then I looked at small private companies employing less than 10 people with high expenditures in that industry. I said, if you hire me, I'm going to target all these businesses, see if you can reduce their costs and become a supplier for them. One of them was like an office equipment and supply wholesaler. So I printed off a bunch of reference solutions records, brought them into my interview. I said, I found companies that currently spend a lot of money in what you sell. Maybe you can help them reduce their costs. So I would start here and then branch out. But I've already got, a strong list of leads that I can follow up on if you hire me. So that was the approach that I took. I would say think out of the box. If you can leverage any of the information that we have to showcase your ability to do research on behalf of a company, then, go for it. Really depends on the industry you work in. For me, it works being in sales. It might not work if you're an engineer, or, it really depends. UCC filings. So we've got source filing IDs on UCC filings. Nearby businesses are their neighbors, so businesses right next door. Get to know their competitors. That's important. And then name drop them. You're in your interview. I noticed that you've been increasing your supply of these products. How does that, help you with a competitive advantage over Brookfield Industries, whatever, and look into them a little bit more. But this competitors list will show you businesses with a similar industry code as the one you're looking at currently in a close geographic area. So these are other hardware manufacturers. Okay. We'll show, historical report by sales and employee size, how the company structure has changed over the past 20 years. And then if there's any CEO changes, address changes, name changes, we'll see that there. And then that might be a good talking point too. So if there has been a recent CEO change, with the recent CEO change, do you see, the mission changing much, or, what are the new goals being set from top down? Okay. So that is a individual business record within our database. There's like over 50 million US business records. So there's a lot of information in the database. How you might use it is more so in the advanced search section. So you open up US business and then you click on this advanced search tab. Now you can build a list that's relevant to your own interests. So if you have, a background in the manufacturing industry and you want to find manufacturers in a 10-mile radius from your home, create a list, have a list of their websites, go to each of those company websites and apply directly on their website rather than going through Indeed, through LinkedIn. Oftentimes you'll be one of the first people to get your resume in because maybe they haven't published that job on a third-party job website. They do have to pay royalties or they pay a fee to, publish those job postings through those, job suppliers. So on the left-hand side are all data elements you can apply to what we call a target market. So I'll use that manufacturer example, just as an example. So under business type, there's two ways you can do it. So keyword search, you just click here, and then you just type in the industry that interests you. So that would just be manufacturing, and then click search. So this will give you a bunch of different types of manufacturers. But I already know manufacturing is a large major industry group. So another way is to search by major industry group. So it'll give you the major industries. If you click on plus, it'll get a little more specific. So wholesale, durable goods, motor vehicles, radiators, et cetera, et cetera. So you can get as specific as you want to. But keyword is going to be easier. But for me, let's say we want to find any and all manufacturers. So right now we're looking nationwide. So we're going to want to get a little bit more specific. Under geography, let's look within. So there's different ways you can do it. You can search by city, by state, zip code, county, or radius. So you can enter in your home address, say 10 mile, 15 mile, 20 mile radius from my home. Totally up to you. I'll open up map-based search. It's a more advanced way to do it, but I will show you how to do this. So we're going to open a map, and we're going to look for all manufacturers within a boundary. So zoom in on, and here's where you would type in an address. Now I'm just going to type in the library. So I'm going to pretend that I live at the library. So this is my house, James Blackstone Memorial Library, and then hit go. All right, so here I live at the library. I've got a really nice house. A lot of people, visitors all the time. That's okay. I'll zoom out. Now what you can do, you can either draw a shape, define a radius, establish a drive route. It's entirely up to you. I like either define a radius or draw a shape. Define radius is very simple. Click that. Click and drag your mouse. Now I'm looking for all manufacturers within this shape that I'm making. So it's right now it's a 2 mile radius. And you'll see that number pop up. So there's 46 in that 2 mile radius. I'll zoom out a little bit farther. I'm going to double click and delete that. Another way you can do it is by drawing a shape. So I'm interested in working anywhere in this area. I've been to Connecticut enough times, but this shape probably won't make any sense, but that's okay. All right, once I double click, it's going to complete the shape. So now we're looking for all manufacturers in this shape. And I'm going to click done. Now I'm going to scroll down under special selects. I'm going to click on web address. Now, if you are interested in applying for jobs at a company, specifically ones that have a website available, you can click only companies with a web address. So you'll see that count go from 319 down to 217. So we would just eliminate 112 results. And then we'll view results. Actually, let's, that's a lot of companies. So why don't we narrow it down even further? Let's say we're looking to work at some of the larger companies. Maybe something that's important is you want to ensure that you've got health benefits, and it's something that you assume that a larger company is able to provide. So we'll also look for number of employees. And we'll start at the top, and then we'll go down. So let's say they employ 100 people or more. So then I'll update count again. We'll see this go from 217 down to 12. So all right, so let's broaden our horizons. I'll go down to 50. All right, so we've got a list of 25. So I think that's a good list to start with. Now this is a pretty advanced search that I did. I did do quite a few filters. We're looking for manufacturers within that shape that we drew on a map, and we're assuming that it's around our home within a comfortable drive distance. Companies with at least 50 employees, so larger companies that are manufacturers close to my home with a website available, and then view results. So now we've got a list of all the manufacturers employing at least 50 people with a website available close to my home. Now what I might do from here, I'm going to check mark all of the records that interest me. And then I'm going to download it. So I can download this info straight to Excel. Choose the level of detail you want to see. Now I'll click detail, but summary usually gets enough information. Detailed can be a little overwhelming, but then I'll download the records, and you're exporting all the data that we saw for Stanley Black & Decker for each of those 25 records into an Excel spreadsheet. Right, so it asks if you trust us. You say yes. You don't even read the message. You say, of course I do. Then you move on. Okay. Now all those company details, company name, executive names, website, phone number, address, industry they associate with, company description is all condensed into a spreadsheet for you. Now, what I recommend you do as a job seeker is you focus on the website. So you go through these one by one, copy and paste into your browser, scroll down to the footer of the website, and then click on their careers section and start applying for jobs directly through the company websites. It's a more unique way than going through LinkedIn, going through Indeed, going through Career Builder. And if you do have a specialized background that's relevant to a certain industry, this is probably a more intelligent way of going about it too. But don't discount those major job suppliers like LinkedIn, Indeed, Career Builder, Monster. Definitely go through those routes. Always recommend the shotgun approach. It is a competitive market right now. It is a better market for job seekers than it is for companies. So you do have more leverage in terms of negotiating salary and benefits and that kind of stuff, which is good. But the shotgun approach, send out as many resumes to as many places as possible, and then just see what sticks. So, okay. All right. That is about it. There are many different ways you can frame your search, and there are different modules, but for the job search, I want you guys to focus on the US jobs and internships module, and then find those Indeed postings and submit your resume and cover letter through the Indeed job site, and then follow up through the US business database, research that company before you go in for the interview, look at the relevant news articles, research what's going on with the company. Or if you're in the sales and marketing field, use it like I did, showcase your ability to qualify sales leads. Or if you've got an expertise in a specific industry, look for that industry in a close geographic region that you're willing to drive to, from your home. So that's all I've got for you guys. And hopefully that helps. What we really want to do is just give you enough breadcrumbs to make yourself deadly in the job seeking process. Now I'll be around for a little bit longer, so I am more than happy to answer any questions if you've got any follow-up questions, or if there were any other modules that you did want to see, I'm happy to show you those too. All right, so I'm going to do a brief pause. I'm going to type my email and phone number into the chat box. And then if you do want to follow up with me directly after this, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always happy to help you in this process. So I didn't actually get any of the jobs that I used as an example in our presentation today. I ended up applying for account manager position the company name was Info Group at the time. We changed it to Data Axle. And I had just nerded out in the reference solutions database a little bit too much. They had asked me, what I knew about the database. And I told them, I've been using the charts and graphs and the expenditure reports to showcase my ability to look for leads. So it is kind of weird how I ended up working here, but the interviews did go well for the ones that I used the information for.
Well, if nobody has any questions, I could, we can end the program. I thought I'd pop in. Thank you so
could
much,
probably-
TJ.
You can probably stop the recording. I'll hang around for a couple more minutes. I do
Sure.
have a couple of chats coming in one-to-one, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.